tough.
Okay. Yeah, well, hey, it's exciting. I mean, the NFL season opens tomorrow night in Kansas City, and we're getting ready to start. And, for our team, we have a division opponent right off the bat coming here at home, so we're excited about that. And, it'll be a great challenge for us. I think that, this team's done a good job. We practice well, but now, the proof will be in the pudding, I guess, once you go out there on Sunday and you play. So we're excited about that. I know that Tad is going to have the injury report for you guys at I guess somewhere either before practice or after practice. Probably just as this week. If injuries happen, you guys know me. Things happen during the games that we play. I've got no problem telling you the status of somebody or where I think he's trending. But with week one, I'm probably going to be a little bit, probably not going to mention or talk about injuries really much or play time or anything like that going into this first week. But I'll try to answer your questions the best I can. I just wanted to be upfront about that. And then after this, week one and we start playing, then it'll be, back to normal probably, or it will be.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Let's kick it off with John Reed and then Gary Smits.
How you doing, Coach?
Good.
Wanted to ask you just overall about your offense and what your thought process. Do you feel you guys are better equipped of being a more explosive scoring team this year from you hiring Jay Gruden, and look like you're probably going to be more of a pass oriented team?
Well, I think, it remains to be seen how the games work out. I think that we have upgraded our talent. At the receiver, tight end, very excited about the running back position. We spent a ton of time talking about the offensive line, where are they at, and really, wanting to see strides by them. I think they've worked extremely hard. I know they got a great challenge this week. And then, with Gardner coming back in his second year, excited to see how he goes. And, he's had a good camp. He's done all the right things. But I think what's going to happen is, when we play on Sunday and you play the following Sunday, then you play Thursday, and as you go along through the season, I think that your play really defines who you are, not what you want to get done. I mean, everyone will say a lot of the same things. We want to be able to attack. We want to be able to, protect the quarterback. We want to be able to run the football. We want big plays, explosive plays. But to answer your question, I do feel that we do have more talent, and now we have to go ahead and and execute.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Thanks, John. Let's go Smitter and then over to Mark Long.
Hey, Doug, we all know the leap that DJ Chark made from his first year to last year. What kind of improvement or what kind of a leap do you think he'll make going from last year to this year?
He's one of those guys, Gary, that's constantly, working on improving. I mean, you see him on the side, him and Coach McCardle, working on like little things, attention to detail. I think he's excited. He's had a really good camp for us. He's been very, very productive. I think his mindset is to go out there and do what he can for the team and work hard. And, obviously we're expecting, great things from him.
And do you have any theories, given the nature of training camp, the first few weeks in the NFL, do you have any theories whether the offense will be ahead of the defense or the other way around?
I don't know. I think that goes by like what happens on the first week. I mean, normally, in history, people always say the defense will be a little bit ahead. That's how it is in camp. That's how it is, from when I was a little kid, but I don't think that's necessarily true. I think, it all depends on how all these games come out, and then people will start putting labels on offense ahead of defense, a defense ahead of offense. And, I think a lot depends on what type of team you have. I think, you got a bunch of guys that have played together, a bunch of guys that are ready to go. Obviously you expect, you expect them all to do well.
Yeah, thanks, Coach.
Sure.
Thank you, Gary. Let's go Mark and then Gene.
Hey, Doug. Obviously you like this team, but with so many unknowns, is it exciting or daunting going into the opener like this?
Well, it's definitely exciting. I mean, you see a bunch of guys that have worked, extremely hard. You see guys that are pulling together. I'm not, obviously you can't predict, what's going to occur, but the focus, all the things that you're looking for, that you're kind of checking off the box, things that may cause you anxiety. We've worked extremely hard about, discipline. We've worked extremely hard on penalties. We've worked extremely hard in, not turning the ball over and creating turnovers. So, we put a lot of time in this, and it's been reflective in the practice. Now, when you go out there and play, you expect that to carry over, but that doesn't always happen. But so I guess for me, I'm really excited. There's guys that have worked and created breaks for themselves, or maybe didn't come into this league or come into this team the way they wanted to. But now they have this opportunity, and talking to some of these guys during the week, where now that the team is set, you can have these types of conversations of, hey, what were you thinking, when the season was over, or what were you thinking a year ago today, where you find yourself now. And those stories are really just uplifting stories in a time where, there's a lot of stuff going on around us, with the pandemic and everything. But, and there's multiple stories from Josh Jones to J-Dub to Abe being a captain, those two guys right there. Josh Allen coming into his second year and being a captain. Joe Schobert coming on our team. Miles, going to play a position he feels really comfortable about. A lot of the D linemen, where were they last year? Timmy Jernigan, these are the stories that are that I'm getting my first opportunity, say, Mark, to really talk to these players, because it's hard to go and talk to someone before they've made the team, about what their thought process is. And that's exciting.
And then, Phillip Rivers, the Colts, but you don't know Phillip Rivers with the Colts. How did you guys even approach that, or how do you even guess as to what that's going to look like?
I think, like anyone, Philip's been he's a potential Hall of Famer. I've got a ton of respect for him. He's an ultimate competitor. We all know that. So there's really not a lot of things that, he hasn't seen. We understand that he can play at a very, very high level. And they've got a lot of good pieces around them, on all three sides. So, I think you look at a lot of things. I think we've kind of exhausted that, especially when, we were all out of the office at that time, and we had a lot of projects and a lot of things. So, we bounced around a lot of ideas. So we've kind of looked at it from a lot of different perspectives.
Thank you, Mark. Let's go Gene and then over to Shipley.
Hey, Doug. Dave has said that you guys can't afford what he describes as a rebuilding year. They said they can't afford that. From your perspective, what are your expectations for this team? Is this, in your mind, a bare minimum, a team that should contend for the playoffs? Is that a fair evaluation of how you see this team?
I don't. And again, everyone else will judge what's fair and what I should be looking at and all that stuff. I understand it, but I really think that this team can be special. I really do, and that's what I feel. That's what we put together. I don't have the opportunity to go through a rebuild, right? We all know that. So that's being realistic. So we've got to go out there and win games, and I'm confident that this football team will be able to do that.
As a follow-up to that, if you say this team can be special, does that mean that you at least expect it to be a playoff contender, at minimum, a contender?
Yeah. Am I going to sit here and say that that's not what I expect? I expect for this team to do well. And I know that, you'll have some, I hope that we don't have any shocking headlines like, Marrone says this team is going to the playoffs or bust or anything like that. I think every coach that you talk to today is that's what you're going for. Our first goal obviously is to win a division, something that we haven't done the past 2 years. I think after that you want to make, a run at it, and you want to go. So I think, a lot of teams, whatever the goals are, we know the ultimate goal is the Super Bowl, and, you go. But when you start going so far ahead and you start predicting all these games, and right now we're just focused on the Colts and trying to win our first game of the year. And that's what we're focused on. So, to get caught and get asked questions about predictions and all this other stuff is a very difficult position for me to be in. But I can tell you what our expectations are. And our expectations are that we're trying to win a division, and that's the best way to get into the playoffs. And then we're trying to go ahead in those playoffs and take it game by game, try to get home field advantage if we can with our record, and pursue, the ultimate goal, which is the Super Bowl. I don't think that's, I think, if anyone says anything different, I mean, I'd kind of be shocked, to be honest with you.
Thank you.
Yep.
On to Indianapolis. All right, let's go over to John Shipley.
Hey, Coach. I know with the lack of preseason, it might be hard for some teams to know what they're going to see in week one. How much does it help you guys that you guys are playing both in week one and week two, teams in your division that you kind of know?
I think it helps the coaches, a little bit, and maybe some of the players that have played against those players, just on a lot of, the little things that go on. But you don't really know the impact of, the 11 guys that are going to be on that field together. When you start, it's a new year. There's new, the teams are, schematically, you can look at it, but there'll be some change schematically, and what people do depending on what their talent, or who they want to feature or what they feel they do well, all those things come into play. So, but I definitely think playing someone, in your division, or someone that you've at least played, the year before, it helps a little bit. I think it only helps not necessarily for the preparation. You're going to prepare the same way, and I think you'd be prepared whether it's a team you haven't played or have played. But I think going into it creates a little bit of a comfort level. But again, you don't ever want to be comfortable with it. You want to make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's and get everything done and be prepared for anything.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Thanks, Shipley. Let's go D-Rock and then over to Mia.
Hey, Doug. What is it about Gardner that makes him so comfortable in the spotlight and doesn't mind poking fun about himself and, doing weird videos for the ESPN and the NFL, that kind of stuff? Why is he so comfortable doing that, you think?
I have no idea. I know I wouldn't. I don't. I really don't. I just think, I would guess I'd say it's his person, that's who he is. And, I don't think him, like I say, it's difficult for me because I know him in a different light. I see him as a guy that comes in here every day and prepares like he's an accountant, which is probably the exact opposite of what you feel, because you see him, in a different light. And, that's a light that, I keep turned off, the light that goes outside, unless, Tad, tells me what's going on, or, hey, you may get asked this question. And really, I just, I laugh because it's not only you guys. I get it. Obviously I have children at home, and, they see the same things you guys do. And I'm just like, oh, they ask me the same questions. I tell them the same answer I give to you, I give to them. I go, I don't know that person. I know the accountant that comes in and works his butt off and, tries to get the team and all that stuff. That's what I focus on.
Thanks, D-Rock. Let's go Mia and then Demetrius.
So, Doug, first and foremost, does that mean you watched the ESPN video?
I did. Tad showed me it afterwards.
What did you think of his singing?
I don't know if I was in tune to what his singing. I thought it was nice. I know I watched the video, and you feel good.
That's how I felt good watching it too.
Yeah. How could you feel bad about listening to a little Celine Dion? Right? Right? It's uplifting. So, and a time where, we want to look at things and feel good. There's a lot of stuff that we're looking at now that you can't feel good about. That's why I think Thursday night's special. I think what we're doing is special. And I think that, it gives you a chance to, to take a moment and put a smile on your face, which is, these times are tough for a lot of people, and we understand that.
Okay, so I promise I actually had an actual question, and I don't want to damper the spirits after we're talking about Celine. But the last time you faced the Colts obviously was a win, but the time before that kind of started that downward slope of the 5 straight games of 200 plus rushing yards allowed. How much do you think about that game and what Marlon Mack and company did, and now adding Jonathan Taylor, what this rushing attack for the Colts could do on Sunday?
Yeah, I don't know if I put a lot into the first part of the question. You know what I'm saying? This run and everything. I understand that. I acknowledge that that's what happened. That we didn't play well that game or the game afterwards. But I look at those running backs as a whole. So you have all 3 of those players that have different types of skill sets, and all 3 of them are very productive. I've always felt that Mack was an underrated player, in this league. I think that, when you look at the things he does a lot. Himes is a guy that, has unbelievable speed, is an excellent returner, and he has a really good skill set. That's a challenge. And then obviously they drafted the player from Wisconsin who's a heck of a player. I mean, who has size, speed, and all of that. So I think when we look at that group as a whole, and I think, when you look around the league and you look at, position groups where, you look at their skill sets and what they've done in college, if you're just coming into the league now, and what you've done in the NFL. I mean, that's a strong room, that they have back there, with a good offensive line and a veteran quarterback and good skill, obviously, on the outside.
Thank you, Mia. And let's finish up with Demetrius.
Hey, Coach, I hope you're doing well. It's often talked about, obviously, with your team, how young it is, but you're returning 5 starters on the offensive line. How important is it for you guys to have that leadership and continuity there, and especially going against the AFC South rival, which obviously the game is usually played in the trenches?
Yeah, I think a lot of things go into it. I think of, where they were, last year, the amount of criticism, some deserve, some not. And then, for me, and the coaches, we felt that going in that they were going to make a big step, from year 1 to year 2. So everything that you're saying, we put a lot into. Now they have to go out there and perform, and I feel very confident. I think that, everybody up front is healthy. They've had really good camps. They've come back in shape, ready to go. Whether we want to say they have a chip on their shoulder or not, I can't speak for them. But I know what our expectation is, for them to have, to really be the driving force of, whether we're running the football or we're throwing the football and protecting our quarterbacks and, making plays with great effort. So, we have a high expectation of their play.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Demetrius. Appreciate it, guys. We'll see everyone in about 90 minutes for offensive coordinator Jay Gruden. Thanks, Coach.
Woo!
Thanks, Doug. Thanks.